Welcome, Frankfort and Franklin County residents, and thank you for turning in to the candidate forum for Franklin County Magistrate District 4 general election held on November 5th, 2024. I'm J.C. Young, and I'm honored to serve on the Chamber Government Affairs Committee here in Frankfort and your moderator for this event. The office of County Magistrate is difficult to define. These men and women serve in these roles wear a plethora of hats. They're expected to be economists, meteorologists, architects, attorneys, agriculturalists, public figures, and the list and titles go on seemingly forever. As you know, the primary obligation of a magistrate is to serve on fiscal court. Fiscal courts in Kentucky hold an immense amount of power. Amongst many duties, fiscal courts have the authority to enact ordinances, issue regulations, levy permissible taxes for the purposes of carrying out statutory obligations, appropriating funds for county roads, providing for the incarceration of prisoners, and funding and holding elections. The office that you two are seeking was created in our original 1792 Kentucky Constitution, and it's worthy of candidates such as yourselves. In this candidate forum for 4th District Magistrate, we're honored to have Mr. Darrell Sanderson and Mr. Mike Harrod. Before we begin, I'd like to thank and recognize the Frankfort Area Chamber of Commerce for establishing this candidate forum and the Frankfort Plant Board for hosting and broadcasting this event. Serving as our esteemed panelists today and those doing the real work of this function are Frankfort Area Chamber of Commerce President and CEO, Ms. Tish Shade, owner and operator of Canoe Kentucky and Kentucky River Tours, Mr. Nathan Deppenbrock, and Chair of the Chamber Government Affairs Committee and Frankfort Plant Board Communications Director, Ms. Kathy Lindsay. Candidates, you're going to have 2 minutes for opening remarks and 2 minutes for closing remarks. You will have 1 minute responses to the questions and then a 30-second follow-up if asked by panelists. We had a draw prior to the forum, and opening remarks are going to begin with you, Mr. Sanderson. You have 2 minutes.
Hello, my name is Darrell Sanderson. I have lived here in Frankfort for the last 68 years. My mother and father were Ashby and Alma Sanderson. My wife is Melody, and her parents were Brenda and Jean Brown. I graduated from City School at Frankfort High. Once graduating, I went into the military and served in the U.S. Navy for 6 years. Once completing that, I came home to take care of my father's business and take over his business. I have done plumbing, heating, cooling, electrical for the last 60 years. So I have been in Frankfort, serving Frankfort, and doing things for Frankfort all along. I have been on the current Planning and Zoning Board for the last 6 years, and about 6 years, a few years back. I have enjoyed working in Frankfort and serving people. I get to meet people every day, and I get to enjoy the fact of talking and learning about the problems in Frankfort. As your magistrate, I would be able to know what you're having, what problems are. I want to have meetings with my people that live in the 4th District so they are able to have a word and a person to talk to between physical court and themselves. There always need to be somebody that they can go to, and I'd like to be that person. Thank you.
Mr. Harrod, opening statements, 2 minutes.
My name is Mike Harrod. I am the current 4th District Magistrate. I was appointed by Governor Andy Beshear, which I want to thank him publicly for having the confidence in me to put me in this position to finish out the vacated term. I've lived in Franklin County since 1981. I was a military brat. We moved all over the world, and we ended up settling here in Frankfort, Kentucky. I'm a graduate of Western Hills. When I graduated Western Hills High School, I went in the military, served 4 years. Came out of the military. I went to Bendix Corporation for a little over 11 years, and then decided, when they went out of business, to find my career here in Frankfort. So I went to the fire department, and I retired as a captain at Franklin County Fire Department. My wife's name is Stacy Smither Harrod. Her family is a pillar here in the community, especially in the 4th District. That's where they were all born and raised. I have 5 children, 2 of them which are in the workforce here in Franklin County. 2 of them are in college, and 1 is in high school. She's a 10th grader. So as your magistrate, I would like to continue serving Franklin County. I take my constituents seriously. I take everything they have to heart, and I take it to the fiscal court. And when it comes down to a vote, that's what we go with. So I'd like to thank everybody for having me here today.
Great job. Thank you both for your opening statements. We're going to begin with questions now. And our first question comes from Ms. Tish Shade, and it's going to be directed to you, Mr. Sanderson. You're going to have 1 minute.
First of all, I'd like to say, both of you, thank you both for your service for our country. How can Franklin County improve its permitting and licensing processes to make it easier for new business startups?
Well, I deal with that quite often due to the fact that having to get permits a lot of times and different things. There needs to be a better streamline. It seems like every time serving on the planning and zoning board, we're stuck with people that have been trying and going through it month and month after month, trying to get permits to build things, build factories, and so on and so forth. It just needs to be a better streamline between the person and the county government, our city government, either one, to be able to take care of what is going on, what they need. And there has to be a better system set up somewhere along the way so they have a better streamline and don't have to come back to like planning and zoning 6, 7, 8 times. Because we see some constituents time and time again bringing the same project back and forth in front of us due to a little part that's just not perfect. I think our people that work for the city and county that oversee the zoning and stuff, they need to have a little more power to be able to approve and to make decisions in the House.
Thank you.
Mike, 1 minute.
I've also dealt with this. I help a friend of mine. He runs Perry Electric here in Franklin County, and I've seen the issues. I believe we need to appoint one person to oversee the whole process, and after the process has been determined what we need, then they can direct the person in the position or the direction that they need to go. There's no sense in having one person have to go downtown and spend 4 hours going to every individual office when one person can streamline it and take care of the problem.
Our next question comes from Mr. Nathan Deppenbrock, and that's going to be directed towards you, Mike. You're going to have 1 minute.
Thank you both gentlemen for being here. How would you ensure that local businesses have a voice in planning and development decisions in our community?
I think we should have forums. I think we should meet with the local business owners. You know, if it's someplace in the district where they live, there's no reason we can't set something up and, get everybody together, take a collective approach to the ideas that they have and present them forward to the direction we need to go. If it needs to go to fiscal court, if it needs to go to planning and zoning, wherever it needs to go. But there's no reason that, we shouldn't meet on a regular basis and talk about the needs of the community.
Mr. Sanderson, 1 minute.
I'm pretty much in agreement. If elected, I would like to have a meeting at least every 6 months with the people that live in the 4th District. And I'd like to entice the other magistrates to do the same so that they can hear the problems, concerns, and everything that goes on in county government because they're just not informed.
Our next question comes from Ms. Kathy Lindsay, and that's going to start with you, Mr. Sanderson, 1 minute.
Great. Thank you all for being here. I would like to ask you, what are your fiscal priorities when it comes to balancing the county's budget and managing its finances responsibly?
I'm not. That's kind of a big question.
Yeah.
I sometimes just in government, there's duplicate people that maybe we can replace, do away, and put 2 jobs into one to where somebody's doing a little more, but we have a job that is not necessarily all the time. So I'd like to see a little bit more streamlining, a little bit more less people and better government. And I would also like to have someone that has the ability to oversee that and to help reduce the budget. I'd like to see taxes lowered, not raised.
Thank you.
Can you repeat that for me so I'll be clear?
What are your fiscal priorities when it comes to balancing the county's budget and managing its finances responsibly?
That's a good question. I've worked on the budget since I've been in the role of magistrate, and I believe we have a budget, and we make that budget. We need to stick to that budget. I'm not a firm believer of going outside of the budget and using reserve funds simply because look at the catastrophe that happened, in North Carolina this last week. You know, if something comes in, we wash a bridge away. I'm not trying to bring attention to bridges, but something major happens, you've got to have that rainy day fund to take care of what is wrong. If you are outside of your budget and you're operating in the red, you're already behind the 8 ball. I don't believe business should operate that way.
Thank you.
Great job. Our next question comes from Ms. Tish Shade, and that's going to be directed back to you, Mr. Harrod, for 1 minute.
Okay. How would you work to retain existing businesses and prevent them from relocating to other areas?
I think we need to restructure the tax form. I'm for bringing new businesses in. For example, say someone wanted to put a business downtown. Why couldn't we get with the business owners or the property owners and set up a tier system as far as what they pay for rent? Like, say they come in at 75% the first year, 85 the next year, and then the third year they go to 100% to make sure the business is going to strive and be successful. You know, I would much rather have some money coming in than an empty storefront sitting anywhere.
Can you repeat the question?
Of course. How would you work to retain existing businesses and prevent them from relocating to other areas?
Well, we currently are in the need of another growth spot, industrial park. We need to have larger companies come in, which pay the larger paydays, so that we can stair-step it down, which creates other jobs, which gets more people to move into Franklin County, so we have a larger field of people to deal with and a larger field of taxes that are coming in. Currently, we have very, very little land for industrial growth. We need to relook at that in the comprehensive plan and do better as far as having an industrial park. Right now, we have zero property, basically, that is going to entice a larger company to come in. Look what Toyota's done for Georgetown. I'd like to see that here.
Our next question comes from Mr. Deppenbrock. It's going to be directed to you, Mr. Sanderson. You'll have 1 minute.
We are in the unique and fortunate circumstance of being the state capital city. So with that in mind, how could Frankfort better leverage its relationship with state government to drive economic growth?
Well, currently a lot of state employees happen to be part-time Frankfurters. They come from out of county. They don't stay here. They don't live here. They come from all different counties. We need to have a better opportunity for people to grow in state government and to be able to move into Frankfort easier. Just for the building processes of it, we don't have growth anywhere near what we need, apartments, homes, or anything else. And we need to see that so people can move in to make a better relationship between the government and citizens.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Sure. So we are in the unique and fortunate circumstance of being the state capital city of Kentucky. So with that said, how could Frankfort better leverage its relationship with state government to drive economic growth?
I think that the physical court, I think that the magistrates need to, be in the legislature, do some lobbying, talk to the people, let them understand where we're at in Franklin County. We're in a diverse county, excuse me. We're a very good tourism town. We need to work on tourism. We need to work on the riverfront. We need to work on just everything overall. Like you said, it's a state government town. It always has been, and I'm not saying I want it to always be, because we have a lot of things going on here in Frankfort, a lot of exciting things. So the incentives need to be there, and they need to come from the state side so everybody understands Frankfort's ready to take the business on and grow.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from Ms. Kathy Lindsay, and it's going to start with you, Mr. Harrod. You have 1 minute.
All right. The Frankfort-Franklin County Comprehensive Plan has been the subject of discussion in the community for quite some time. So do you feel that the plan includes sufficient plans for growth? And what are your priorities for the plan, and how do they affect local businesses?
I would say the plan was done. I was actually a part of the comprehensive plan. The need for property is out there. The problem is the current land that we're looking at obtaining is still being farmed by elder generations. I don't know if farming is going to keep being a way of life the way the world's going, but on the west side of town, that's where we're looking at maybe hopefully expanding industrial, and I hope we get it. Right now, I think we have 450 to maybe 700 acres that could be used currently. But the problem is we have to have sewers, we have to have the infrastructure. There's going to have to be a lot done before we can make that land go to what we want to make it do.
Thank you.
Mr. Anderson, 1 minute.
Well, my belief is the current comprehensive plan is a total failure. It doesn't really design, growth starts at the top industrially and it builds itself down. We have about 600 acres, but they're like 100 acres here, 50 acres there. They're not 600 acres in any one place, which gives us a big problem. If a factory comes in and wants to move here, they want the shovel ready. They want to be able to go in, start construction, building their factory, and moving on. We don't have any property like that in Franklin County right now. We definitely need to redo our comprehensive plan to make it more industrial friendly so that we can entice the larger companies and larger factories to move here. It's a pyramid down effect. Once they come, the money comes, the other jobs, the restaurants and everything comes with it, and it's a total package. But if you don't have the industrial growth, you don't have the other growth.
Thank you.
We're going to start back over with Ms. Tish Shade. Ms. Shade, this question will go to Mr. Sanderson, and you'll have 1 minute.
Okay, I have a two-part question. So first of all, do you support the proposal of single-use plastic bans? And then what would you do to ensure that the cost does not fall primarily on the small businesses?
Can you say it again?
Sure. First of all, do you support the proposal of the single-use plastic bans?
Yes.
Okay, so how would you ensure that the cost does not fall primarily on the small business to comply?
It's like everything else going on right now. We have everything seems to be going up and up and up in cost. Somehow you're going to have to, as a business, you're going to have to figure out a way to incorporate that into the products you're selling, whatever, because I don't know how it cannot be shared between the two. I just don't know how to achieve that goal.
Okay.
Mr. Harrod, you want to?
And that's a very good question. I hear that a lot. And I am openly a no vote on the plastic ban. The reason being, we're bringing in 500 to 1,000 tons of trash to the landfill daily. That's not even from Franklin County. I understand the need for the want to get rid of the plastics and the single-time use, but at this time, it's going to cripple the existing businesses. The alternative to the plastic use or your paper products, and I don't know, I've never tried to eat with a paper fork, but it is what it is. You got school systems that require, they have to have that. They don't have the dishwashing capabilities. So I'm an open no vote on the plastic ban, and I hope I answered your question
Thank you.
in the correct way.
Our next question comes from Mr. Deppenbrock, and it's and it's to you, Mr. Harrod. 1 minute.
My question as well is a two-part question. So how would you work to attract new businesses and jobs to Frankfort while supporting the local businesses? And what specific incentives and programs would you maybe propose to attract these new businesses to town?
I'm all for new business in Franklin County. I'm running on growth. Growth is where I would like to be. As far as incentives go, I don't really know how I would start that. I would have to put deep thought in that depending on what businesses are trying to come to Frankfort, because everybody's going to be different. It's not going to be the same situation for every business. But there's no reason that business can't come meet with the court, discuss their needs, and then, see whether it be tax deferment or lower taxes to come in to get started. I just think that's the direction we need to go in.
Thank you.
I'm all for pro-growth. I believe that we need to find ways to have other businesses come into Frankfort. And we don't really have a lot of that right now just in the comp plan. It's just not designed currently to entice pro-growth, to get companies to come in. And when you're talking about trying to make it equal between current companies here and other companies, you have to find that equal median that works in between the both of them. I personally think there should be a three-party committee that goes out and works to bring companies in. We don't have enticements that we go out to and talk to companies to come into Frankfort. And I'd like to go to them versus them come to us and entice them to come to Frankfort to grow. And I'd like to look for companies that aren't currently here that would help us with pro-growth, not current companies that are here.
Thank you.
This question is going to come from Kathy Lindsay, and it's going to be directed to you, Mr. Sanderson. You'll have 1 minute.
All right. With the limited services the YMCA now offers in Frankfort, how do you envision the county's role in ensuring that our community will support services like youth soccer leagues, basketball facilities, an indoor pool, and after-school programs?
Well, I think it's a current shame that we're in the situation we're in because we have just about annihilated YMCA and parks that altogether, and it's a shame that we have gone that way and not figured out some way to solve that problem before it's gone this far. Currently, you don't have a Y at all, so that means there's no place really for different groups to be able to go to do what they do, sports or whatever. I know we started the building of the plan for Lakeview, but we have to find a way to be able to put the Parks and Recreation together with the Y so there can be places for the kids to do what they do, and we haven't worked at that and got that done yet.
Thank you.
I'll just say I'm a travel ball dad, so I'm very up to speed on what we're talking about. The phase 1 of the Lakeview Park is going to be phenomenal for Franklin County. I'm not saying it's going to replace the YMCA, but it's going to have a big part. There's going to be plenty to do for the children in the near future. Phase 2 is going to be an indoor facility. Like I said, that's going to be huge and economic. I'm trying to find the word I'm looking for. It's going to be an excellent economic development process for Franklin County, is what I'm trying to say. As far as the Boys and Girls, I think we need to start a Boys and Girls Club here in Franklin County. You know, we've been in talks with people in the court, and it's something I think we need to do as the capital city to give the kids something to do so they have some place to go and want to be and hang out and stay out of the trouble that they're, apt to get into if they're not busy.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from Tish Shade, and it's going to be directed to you, Mr. Harrod. You'll have 1 minute.
Okay. What are your plans for improving infrastructure in the county, particularly water and sewer lines, roads, and broadband access?
I'll start with broadband access. Right now, we're actively working on looking at the broadband situation. The plant board has good things going on. There's a couple other companies that are interested in the business in Franklin County. Broadband's something we have to have. Every child, every thing you do now is web-based. So I believe that that's something that needs to move forward and move forward fast. I'm sorry, I forgot the second part of your question.
The infrastructure, including particularly water and sewer lines and the roads.
The water and sewer lines is something we've been kicking the can down the road for years. I mean, we're going to have to come up with the money. We're going to have to get state grants. We're going to have to improve all the water and sewer systems in Franklin County. Most of them are, 40, 50 years old. They're failing. So we need to get together with the state, get a program, and get to work on the sewers and the water.
I know currently we've met with several people wanting to do development on Carville Lane. The sewer's not there, and the water's got a problem, and then some of the people around it don't want the development. We have to have development growth in Franklin County to entice people to come. The sewer system, we're going to have to figure a way to get the state on board with us to be able to expand our current sewer system. And about 2-3 months ago, I went down and met with the current sewer board for about 4 or 5 hours trying to figure out where we're at, where we're going. And we've got to find the money to be able to do what we would like to do with the sewer system and the water. So I'm hoping we can figure a way to entice the state to get on board and help us to be able to develop and move forward with the system so that we can entice and bring more companies in.
Next question comes from Mr. Deppenbrock. It's going to be directed to you, Mr. Sanderson. You'll have 1 minute.
As a business owner myself, I understand the challenges of running a business in Franklin County. But what do you see as the biggest challenges facing small businesses in Franklin County today, and how would you address them?
I'm a small business owner too, so it is a very, very difficult situation. And as far as the land of issue is a big area. I would like to build a new shop and grow. There's no place really available right now for me to be able to do that for the type of business I have. It's a construction business. We do plumbing, heating, cooling, electrical, but no place really is there a location that I could build a shop and have a business in that location. So it's really, we need to do the land development better so that we can have more places for construction type business to grow and develop. I think it's a great thing. I think we need to figure out a way to get that done.
I've been a small business owner for 33 years in Franklin County. Biggest things I see are the tax issues. You know, as you know, years ago, legislature put in a luxury tax on cutting hair, mowing grass, you know, so we had to start paying the state additional taxes on top of the taxes that we pay. I think we need to look at streamlining that a little bit better, make it more user-friendly for the small man and, you know, help them out. When you're taxing everything that you're making, it's hard to make a living in a small business. So my view is I think we could do better as a state and as a county, you know, for streamlining taxes and making it more user-friendly for the business owners in Frankfort.
Thank you.
We have now reached the time for closing statements. We started with you, Mr. Sanderson, so we're going to start with Mr. Harrod. Mr. Harrod, closing remarks, closing statements, 2 minutes.
As I said, I'm the current sitting magistrate. I really enjoy doing the job that I'm doing. I'm getting out in the district. I'm meeting a lot of people. We're talking about a lot of issues and important issues. You know, there's things that I want to see Franklin County grow. I want to see my other 3 children that haven't made a decision where they're going to live. I want Frankfort to be home. You know, we have big things coming to Frankfort. We've talked about the park. We've talked about pools. You know, we have the paddocks going in. The paddocks is going to be huge for Franklin County. You know, not everybody that works there is going to live in Frankfort, but they're going to be paying taxes in Frankfort. And it's going to be a one-stop. You want to go eat, you need to go get groceries, you could go in Frankfort. You don't have to go to Versailles, Georgetown, Lexington. I want Frankfort to be that kind of home for my children. And with that said, I appreciate your all's time. Thank you for having me, and have a good day.
Mr. Sanderson, 2 minutes closing
Well,
remarks.
I really do appreciate y'all's time of taking this to put the forum out. It's good for the people of the district to hear what we feel and how we feel. There are some differences between us, obviously. I would like to ask for your vote on November the 5th. I think it's important that we continue to grow. We need to make sure that we have somebody in place that can help grow, can see the problems. I'm out there every day working, and I see a lot of needs and a lot of people I talk to, and I would like to see that be incorporated and be able to take the next step as county government. And I would just like that opportunity, and I'd appreciate your vote.
As we close, I'd like to personally thank both of you for seeking this office. You've put your name on the ballot, spent your own time and money, skipped out on family events only to serve your community, and I want you to know that it's appreciated. You all have both done a great job, and I'd like to congratulate you on your efforts and your success and wish you the best in this election. Thank you. There have been some election law changes statewide over the last several years, and there's now multiple ways for you to cast your ballot in this election. Mail-in absentee ballots with an online portal, in-person early voting before Election Day. It's Thursday, October 31st, Friday, November 1st, and Saturday, November 2nd. There are 3 locations in Franklin County. You can show up to any of those and vote. And in-person on Election Day voting, November 5th. 2024, 12 locations in Franklin County, and you can show up at any polling place and vote. As you know, 2024 is a presidential election year. Statewide, this ballot includes all 6 congressional seats, the entire State House of Representatives, half the Kentucky State Senate, many local and jurisdictional elections, and voters across the Commonwealth will be deciding on 2 constitutional amendments. It's an important election. If you don't know where or how to vote, I'd encourage you to call the Franklin County Clerk's office at 502-875-8702 or check out their website. It's loaded with current election information. It's been an honor to serve as the MC and moderator for this event, and I'd like to thank all the folks that aren't on camera for all the work that you did to make this possible. I'd like to thank all the volunteers, FPB staff, camera folks, chamber members, all the staff here. That concludes this forum. Thank you for joining us.